Me jumping on for day 6, celebrating the 8 secrets to powerful manifesting. Huge shout out to Anthony William, medical medium, what he had to say about my work and this book, and Anthony just being this incredible friend and prototype for humanity. He knows and understands my love for the world, and he brought me to tears this morning with what he was saying about the book. So I'm so excited because, if y'all are already in the group, then I love him. I love him too. Who is on, by the way? The medical medium cleanses. Have you guys been? I'm celery juicing it out. There's been so many times where he has saved my health and, of course, been this incredible friend. I could go on and on about Anthony. Many of you are in the group, the 8 Secrets to Powerful Manifesting group. So you are posting up all of these incredible videos and shares on wherever you're at in the book already, or if you have the audio version. I know some of you are still waiting to get your copy. Don't worry, it's coming. I can't control how fast it gets there, but it's all in divine timing. So today we get to go through, I want to share actually, let's backtrack just a little bit because there's something really exciting. So I want to make sure that I talk about it now and at the end so that you don't miss out on it, because the value is like thousands of dollars, and I know what that can mean to a lot of folks who have wanted to maybe do one of my programs before and haven't been able to. So we're actually doing a really cool, I guess you would call it like a contest, a raffle experience. And so I'll explain a little bit more of the details towards the end, but there are 3 different tiers, and this will be totally by random, but you can win anywhere from $1,000 worth of programs, or like $1,000 credit to put towards any program you want within Authentic Living, or $3,500, which can also be equating to a 3-day live event in Colorado at the Heartland, and your lodging and your food with our amazing herbalist vegan chef would be taking care of you, with other folks who would be at this experience, or a 2-day VIP, no more than 4 people, with myself and my husband, also at the Heartland, lodging and so forth paid for. If you win and you can't utilize the live event, then you have that credit, which is anywhere from $3,500 to $9,500 available. Holy moly. I didn't come up with it, my team did, and I am so into it. I just think it's such a fantastic experience to get the book into more hands, and also to spread the light, the ripple effect in effect. So very, very excited about that, but I'll give you guys the website that you guys need to go to be tracking how you're going to get these raffle entries and all that fun stuff. So stick with me till the end. Today we are jumping into a few different things, and at 5 o'clock I get to go over to John Edwards. Who knows him? He's amazing, a whole lot of fun, and we are going to be taking over his social media platforms. So I've got 40 minutes, so I will be succinct, so I say. So today I'm really excited about what we're going into, and I wrote my little notes on it. There's 2 kind of pieces which go with the doohickey that I had put up for you guys. So the first one we talked about yesterday, so I want to kind of review it, because sometimes when someone first hears the concept, they're like, huh, what? Where? What do you do? What do you mean? And so I want to make sure that you really understand it, and that you can start figuring out how to relate it to your life consistently as we continue the unraveling and rewiring process so we can manifest what we want. So it's the ABCs to manifesting. Y'all remember that, right? So the ABCs to manifesting, let's go over it again just in case. That is, and by the way, I'm looking at 2 different cameras here. So sorry if you're like, where is she looking? Who is she talking to? Sometimes people are like, I'm like over here, and they're like, who are you talking to? I'm like, oh, another platform. So the ABCs to manifesting is basically this concept. Let me go backwards to explain how, although we were doing it prior, this was when I started calling it the ABCs to manifesting. If you hear my dog barking, he's probably barking at a mountain lion or a chicken or a piece of trash floating by. So sorry, he sounds pretty far away, so he's probably rummaging around in the land or something. So can't wait to dive. Oh, I know, I'm so excited for you guys. Just ordered the book. Thank you so much. I'm gonna have a whole lesson on this, but I'll wait on it. But my ceiling and basement, oh my gosh, I have been hitting some serious ceilings, and talk about always leaning into your own, work. I'm like, this is always applicable to me. It's been crazy. Tons of tears of gratitude and excitement, and just now you can really hear them, such a high vibration. So the ABCs to manifesting, I kind of figured this one out. I remember there was this gal, and I tell this story a lot, so I'm sorry if you guys have heard this, but it's just too good. And so there was this gal who had come to an event. This was back when we were living in Laguna Beach, in our first home. And we had a little event there, and this gal came, and she was a veteran, an amazing soul, ended up joining our team. And other things. But at the time when she first came, she wanted to open or like start a bath salt or a salt business. Now this woman, like if you want to buy bath salts from someone, this would be the one, because she was so passionate. She is so passionate and so knowledgeable, and she had a ton of energy gifts, you know, spiritual gifts as well, that she would, you know, she wanted to pour into this. But she hadn't launched the business. So after she explained it, and you could see the passion and the knowledge and all of this stuff, I was like, so why haven't you started? She's like, well, you know, she was also a professor, that's the word, a professor. And she had, you know, lots of work and stuff. And so I was like, tell me all the reasons, or sorry, not tell me all the reasons, but tell me all the things that you need to do to get this sucker off the ground. And so he wrote down, and I think it was like a good 20 to 30 things we had on this list of everything that she needed to do. This could be very logical things like create a website, get, you know, the ability to collect orders, all that's the systems that I know nothing about, marketing. And then she had, you know, tons of other stuff. And I was like, So I know her end result, the end goal at this point, the manifestation in which she wanted was launch day. She wanted to be able to launch her business and start collecting sales so that she could make these incredible salts for people to be able to soak in and experience. And so we went through them all, and I was like, let's go through all of this. And I broke each one down and, you know, really tore it apart, if you will, with so much love. And we figured out that by the end of it, there's only like 3 things that she needed to do to be off and running. She did it. Just those 3 things. Everything else could wait. You know, they needed to happen at some point, but not to launch. So that was an incorrect, you know, belief. She did those few little things, and she launched 2 weeks later, and then I ended up partnering with her. So that's where the ABCs of manifesting was built from. So the ABCs of manifesting is basically this idea that our minds, right? We talked a lot about our minds lately. Our minds, our thoughts, our rules, probably the biggest operative word here, our rules will tell us that we need to do all of these different things in order to get towards our manifestation, to, you know, have what we want. Now the rules could be anything, right? It could be like, I want to do my purpose work, and I need to be like a Mother Teresa in order to be worthy of it. Or I want to start my business, but I need to, you know, save up enough money so I can go part-time. But again, sometimes your ABCs are super logical, rational, they make sense, but they don't have to be true. And so the human mind, or your mind, will always have an A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way going through the entire alphabet. And just imagine that Z is the desired manifestation. But the universe can show you the way, and the universe not wants to, but go with me. I don't think the universe has like an intention. It just is what it is. But the universe can give you an A to F to X to Z. So instead of having 26 steps, we have like 4. Sometimes we have 1 to get to what we desire. And I always tell myself this when I'm like, okay, I'm taking on a new feat, or I have to step into a fuller version of me, or, you know, what's it gonna be? I always ask myself, okay, what are my current ABCs and which ones are incorrect? And I think writing it down is fantastic. So what needs to change? What needs to go? What's not needed to reach either the emotional / vibrational level of that which we desire, or literally to get there in the 3D straight away, like the gal that I talked about. So play with this right now. What are some of your, first actually, post below, what are some of the things that you really, how do I say it? That you absolutely want, right? What is a manifestation? What is a desired manifestation? Go ahead and post them below. What is something you want? No guilt or shame. It could be a Ferrari. It could be purpose work. It could be a child. It could, you know, anything. It's fine. Perfect. Okay. You guys are studying between the different platforms. Okay. So now let's ask ourselves a few questions. 1, who do we think we have to be to happen or to get there? Okay. Start posting those. complete freedom, financial, okay? Purpose work, absolutely, okay. Now, who do you need to be? Let's start there. What are your rules? The ABCs absolutely have rules in them. We're dipping in between the two. Who do you have to be a therapist for children? Who do you have to be to do your purpose work? Who do you have to be Wonder Woman? Who do you have to have 300 clients for your new program? Who do you have to be to get the Mercedes? Who do you have to be to find a home with land in nature? In some way, even on a husband and financial, in some way, even if it's a little bit unconscious or it's buried in your subconscious real right now, you have perceptions of something that you are not yet, that you need to become. You might be like, I need to be more resilient. I need to be more liked. I need to be more well-connected. I need to be more successful. I need more money in the bank. I need whatever it is. And now I want you to ask, and well, that's actually one step further first, and then we'll go backwards. Okay, what do you need to do? What do you perceive you need to do? So it's a doingness and a beingness. What do you need to do to have the land in nature? What do you need to do to create the purpose work? Now, again, this isn't like higher self, like just be whatever. It's what do you actually think? Like, why aren't you doing it right now? Right? What are these perceived hurdles or all these ABCs that are in the way? So you have to work hard, okay? Oh my gosh, that was so me, by the way. I thought I had to work so hard. And then, I'm kind of going too far already, but then we counter manifest. So I'll tell you guys the story while you guys are posting these up. Before I ever had my purpose work, before I ever had any happiness, before I had authentic living, none of that, I didn't even know I was gonna be an entrepreneur. I definitely wasn't built like one. At least I didn't think I was. My program, I was like, definitely not. Just find a job where everybody tells you what to do all the time, because then you don't ever have to trust yourself. So all of my programming, compiled that. But I remember before I had, any of the work that I have today, I did want to always help people, and I wanted to be paid well for it. So I remember when I was like 24, or maybe like very early on, and when I was 25 or something like that, sorry, this was way earlier. This was in our early 20s. But I remember I still have it in a journal somewhere, and I wrote down, I wanted to be a psychiatrist. Not even because I wanted to be able to give people medicine. I just thought it was more prestigious. So I was like, well, if it's more school, then it must be even better, right? My programming coming in. So I wanted to be, a therapist or a psychiatrist, or psychologist, psychiatrist. And I was like, but I want to be able to make this amount of money. And I also want, kids. And I want a loving husband. I wanted things, right? I wanted an experience. I wanted to feel good. But ultimately I kept looking at all these things. I wasn't remotely thinking about how those things would make me feel. But the poor part, not poor like financially poor, but the sad part of it was that I perceived that in order to get there, just go with me on this. This is why the ABCs screw you up. So in order for me to get to that point where I had a practice, which at the time I think I wrote like $200,000 a year. I was like, if I could do that? Okay, I could take care of this person, I could pay this person's rent, and then I could still maybe like travel once a year. And that money was spent before it even came. And that, I never obviously became a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I trained them instead. So I sat there and I was like, but if I do that, I'm gonna have to work super, super, super hard to make, what I thought was really good money. I still think that's fantastic money. But I sat there and I was like, I'm gonna have to work so hard. But if you work really hard, then you're never around. And if you're not around for your kids, they're gonna resent you. And if you're not around for your husband, he's probably gonna cheat on you, because that's what we saw happen, growing up. So everything that I want, I can't have. I'll never have peace because I'll be working all the time. So I ran myself in a hamster wheel of illusions, basically, because I had interwoven my steps and the things I thought I needed to do with a complete counter manifestation, something that would completely counteract it. And so unconsciously I would sabotage it because I didn't actually want it, because I thought it came with all of this pain, all this confusion, right? Will this be recorded? Yes, it absolutely will. It'll stay on my page, whichever, I think this one's Instagram. Yeah, Facebook, Instagram. So I just kept sabotaging it. Now consciously, again, you guys know this at this point in this, this daily thing we're talking about here. You might say that you want something beautiful consciously, but unconsciously we have some incredible things that need to be healed and understood. So that's why it doesn't show up. So any hoodle doodle, obviously, if you guys know anything about my life, that's not true. I have kids. I could be with them all the time practically. I've got an amazing husband. I do sometimes work tons, but I can also take my breaks, and all of the beautiful spaces of abundance and happiness found me. Why? Because that wasn't for me. This is totally for me. I wasn't after those things anymore. I was after an emotional experience, a certain vibration, and go figure, far more than I could have ever created on my own. Just I got rewarded with for being in a high vibration, for loving the world, for, you know, being my little puzzle piece of humanity. That's what I believe and what I encourage, and I'm really teaching y'all to do. So my ABCs were messed up. Okay, so now you guys have written quite a bit, or you've typed quite a bit now. So now we're looking at if in fact what you desire and the steps in which you think you need to do, or the person you think you need to be to achieve it, what if it's incorrect? So now that you've written those down, hopefully you have, or you're gonna watch this again, you have a list. Here are the things I think that I have to do to basically become, so be, the version of me that has this particular manifestation, or has this type of reality, or can do these types of things for the world, or whatever. I totally went through that. I had imposter syndrome like crazy when I first started serving people, but my love and my genuine care for them would exceed it, thank goodness. But I had all of those things, right? So I had these perceptions and these rules that I had to break, all these ABCs that were slowing me down. Well, again, if the universe can get you from, as soon as you set the intention, can get you from A to P to Z, well, those are quantum leaps. That's like, I call it bending time. It's a whole area of my book is bending time and how you do it. And it's not woo-woo, it's actually quite logical. And you're like, oh, duh. Then time naturally condenses and you get, you know, where you want to go faster because of these things. You're clearing the blocks. So you know what you think you have to be and what you have to do, right? Now let's go through them and let's call bullshit on all of it. What actually is true? Now, you might be like, well, I need to be a good person. Let's take it one step deeper. What does a good person mean to you? Because this is where the sneaky rules get in. Absolutely, you should be a good person if you're going to do your purpose work, right? You should be a good person in general. But what if being a good person to you, your definition is, I cannot make any mistakes. I need to be the embodiment of perfection. And if I'm not Mother Teresa, then I am not a good person. I don't like that. That's not going to work, right? That beingness, who you perceive you need to be underneath the surface, is going to keep throwing you off because you're supposed to be your authentic version of you, right? Or like I was talking about with my gal with the bath salts, she perceived she had to do all of these very logical things that the world had even taught her. Y'all, I was talking about this on a podcast earlier today. It was an entrepreneurial podcast, and I'm like, they're like, so do you write, I'm going to butcher how she asked this, but it was a great question. It was something about like, so, you know, how often are you sitting there, you know, writing out your goals, your 5-year plans and stuff? I said, the only time I ever wrote a 5-year business plan was when I didn't have a business. I didn't know what I was doing, which leads me to my next piece, which I'll kind of throw in here now, which is if you want to be able to tap into the proper ABCs of manifesting, we're following breadcrumbs. We're not planning everything out on a logical level. And I can still say this, again, with my own experience and what I have seen and what I've been so blessed to help facilitate in so many people's lives, is that you have to leave room for your higher power. You don't get to just choose it all, even if it's logical. Y'all, I didn't have a website for months into my business. And yes, I was helping people already and all that jazz. I hope that I didn't get in trouble for not opening a bank account right away, but I did claim everything I made still. I just had to do a retroaction. But I was like, if I do all these things, I'm going to pressure myself, and then I'm going to blame myself for not, you know, doing it fast enough or good enough or whatever. So I knew my wiring and I worked with it. And that allowed for me to make these incredible quantum leaps towards becoming more of me. And what was my greatest intention? To feel peace and to do my purpose work. I was here to serve, and I didn't know how to serve, but I knew that I was supposed to, and I knew that that would bring me peace. And so, you know, I gave my life over to service. And so, and my cup got filled with it too, which is freaking awesome, right? But if you look at that, right, you might have certain rules that need to be consistently broken. So leave a little room for not error, but leave a little space to breathe, because the ABCs of manifesting work best, and I know this is a hard one, when you surrender a little bit, when you trust a little bit, when you're willing to say, what is just the next step in front of me? And sometimes, depending on where you're at in life, you can only see the next step. You could be surrounded by darkness, but just one step is illuminated. That is enough. That is more than enough. Because as soon as you take that next step, you sit in patience and say, okay, universe, I'm ready for the next step. Or okay, higher power. Or okay, self. What is the next right step? And when you choose the breadcrumbs of reality, it's these little beautiful pieces that lead back to something juicy. Life opens up for you. And you're able to create those incredible, time-bending moments and get towards what you desire. Still to this day, even though, I have had authentic living for, I guess, 7-ish years now, people are like, how'd you do it? And I'm like, the only thing, there'd be a lot of answers to that, I suppose. But the one that I typically say is I followed my breadcrumbs. I kept breaking my rules on who I thought I had to be and leaned into what I was. And so I imagine it, I wish I had a pen right now, but imagine like you're in this little ball in the middle of all of existence, right? So instead of what we think we have to do, which is carry our whole ball into this area to become someone who's worthy of their purpose work, or a millionaire, or what someone said, like get the Mercedes or whatever. You think you have to move yourself out of like your true equilibrium? No. We expand like the universe, and we find, and when we expand enough, when we grow enough, when we master ourselves enough, we naturally meet all the things that we desire because they just fall into our path. And if we're expanding always, then all of that beautiful stuff stays. It's now a part of our vibration. It's a part of what we are. And talk about like when your manifestations come and then they go, or they're here and then, you lose them, you get money and then the bill comes, or, whatever type of thing. Well, most likely in some way, shape, or form, it's because you're not following the breadcrumbs and you're not allowing for yourself to expand into all that you are. Half of manifestation is just unbecoming. Letting go of the programming, stopping the counter manifestations so that you can be all that you are, and then you let the chips fall as they may. I know that takes surrender. I know I sit on the other side of that. I still surrender and find deeper and deeper lessons into it. But it's always beautiful because you are who you are, and there is a piece that no one else can give you when you are vibrating at your most authentic state. And you break the rules on time. Time is this silly construct that has been totally misused and misunderstood so much in humanity. And we really can bend time. We can condense and collapse time frames if we remember how incredible our minds are. But to remember how incredible we are, we have to remember what isn't us and let it go. Because if we're carrying around a density, a vibration that is not authentic to us, we're not vibrating at homeostasis. We're not in our most natural state. We're not in our, soul self. We're not in our God-given creation abilities. It would make sense, right? That life won't work out unless we are who we are. And why we, lose our way or the world tries to make us something we're not, that one I don't know. I think maybe our souls are they got a wicked sense of humor and they're like, let's make this really difficult. But as we further step away from the programming in the past and the traumas and the things that we can set down because we picked it up once we were already on the human journey, we didn't come to it, as a soul per se, go with what I'm saying here, then of course things can be beautiful. And of course life can be in flow. And most likely all the things that you thought, my kiddo's coming, most of the things that you thought aren't going to happen that way after all, or you don't want them anymore. I've noticed so much that my manifestations have changed to where my needs, you see my husband, my needs are so small, but the abundance is so big because there's a centeredness and there's an empowerment to being in that state as well. And so the ABCs of manifest, there's Nana, the ABCs of manifesting are always beautifully happening with and for you because you're breaking the rules on what you think you have to do or be to get there. Cool? Okay, let's see if there's anything else I want to, yes, there is. Now, very not logical, kind of logical, but very step-based. So you guys might want to type this up for each other in the comment section or watch this again or whatever, because you might miss a step or forget something. And you can change these steps up. Use your intuition. I always say this, I really believe it, no matter what I say, no matter what anyone says, nobody knows better than you, as long as you are willing to remove the filters to hear the message. And so I'm here to just facilitate and give the information I can. If something I say doesn't resonate, don't pick it up. Trust yourself, right? That's your authentic self speaking. I do not, it is really hard to offend me. It really is nowadays. But take it with a grain of salt if that feels right. Okay, that has nothing to do with the lesson today. So, yes, this is how I want to say this. So we're going to talk about being proactive. Because I know for myself, if I find myself with an empty cup, or I'm feeling really low, there were tons of things that happened before that I didn't pay attention to. Talk about trigger management, right? The past couple days. So I won't dive into that because you guys know that, but we know why we get there. But when we find ourselves there, we're like, one, takes way more effort to get out of, and two, we're super reactive, right? Pressure cooker's already super hot, like the top's gonna blow. But what if we're more proactive? And so I want to give you 3 simple things that you can do morning, noon-ish, midday, and night so that you can keep your energy clear and ensure that in any ways that are in the highest good of all for you to condense those time frames and bend time and create the quantum leaps when you're doing your ABCs. Also, and again, think about it, it's very logical. If you break the rules on your ABCs, you're naturally pulling the E and the F and the M and the Z, or not the Z, the X, whatever. You're pulling them out because you understand that they're not actually necessary anymore. So guess what happens? Literally the time frame gets shorter because the letters, there's less of them. Does that make sense? I didn't explain that very well. I'll explain it better when I'm thinking differently. So we want to be proactive about it as well because that keeps us in a very high vibrational state because our cup is full, we are clear-minded, our energy is high, and the breadcrumbs we can see more easily because I call them like pings as well. You can hear the little whispers of the universe instead of the universe slapping you upside the head and you're like, dang it, I knew that 5 years ago. Or I should have listened to that 5 minutes ago even. Instead, you're in this beautiful conscious state of awareness where you can reshift your energy or remove one of the letters of the alphabet as needed. So the first one, so I get this right. So first thing, I want you guys to build this one yourself. I think that we've been talking for enough days that you guys have some ideas already. Biggest thing is it has to work. I remember a gal years ago when she met me, she said, Mandy, when I met you, I stopped doing my affirmations. And I was like, that's interesting. Why do you say that? And she's like, because I realized when you talked about intentional energy, I was just doing them because everyone said to do them so you could manifest. And she's like, and then you talked about affirmations don't mean shit unless you're actually backing up the energy and the intentional energy is there. It's got to feel right. It's got to feel true. You brought the science and the psychology into why affirmations don't work. She said, I stopped doing them and now I'm manifesting. So anyways, I want you guys to do what feels right. Everybody's energy is different. So first thing though, really simplistic, is have some type of a morning routine. I'll share mine, but you've got to figure out what works for you. And you're not allowed, we always have a lot of people in our house, but you're not allowed to do something that doesn't actually fill your cup up. Deal? So my morning routine before my feet hit the floor, and I've kind of built rules around these so that it's like, I have to do it. So I say thank you 3 times, typically in my mind. And each one kind of builds. It's almost like this ball of gratitude, like, thank you. I can, simple things. I'm breathing. I know my feet are going to hit the floor and I can walk, whatever it is. And then I think about like my children and my family, and I think about my purpose work, whatever it is. But it's thank you, thank you, thank you. Whatever it is. You don't have to think about a specific thing if that doesn't feel right, but you do have to feel like you're actually saying thank you for something so that it feels genuine, right? If you're going to use that. And so I say, thank you, thank you, thank you. And then my feet hit the floor and then I am journaling almost immediately. Or I will get a sip of coffee or lately it's, celery juice or some type of tea, whatever. And then I am journaling. And I'm journaling as little or as much as I need until I feel like I'm done. Sometimes it's 5 pages, sometimes it's a sentence, but it is a practice that I always do, I've always done, and I love it. So I journal. And then the last piece is I ask myself, am I attached to anyone? Sometimes when you sleep, you're not, although it's absolutely restorative to your subconscious mind, energetic field, I will have people attached to me in the night. I've got millions of people watching my webinar every month. Of course, we're always connected and I don't want to change that, but I want to make sure that I'm aware of what's mine and not. Otherwise, I might end up dipping in a way that I'm like, why am I feeling so anxious? What is happening? And it's just, I'm tied into an energy at that moment. So I ask myself if there's any clearing that I need to do, and then I'm, on my merry way for the day, doing maybe a physical exercise to clear, or I just don't need to clear, whatever it is, but I'm checking in. Now the next is you want a midday check-in. Now the midday is just a quick, how am I feeling, what's going on, and then you're gonna utilize some of the things you've learned over the past 5 days of pattern interrupts or shifting your energy, breaking a rule, whatever feels right to you. But you're just gonna check in and say, how am I feeling? If you're already doing energetic check-ins like we talked about in day 1, then you kind of already got this part situated for the midday. And then last is the evening. In the evening, if this feels right to you, or play with it however you'd like, you're gonna do a scanning and clearing process. Doing my midday check-in now, perfection. So you're gonna do a scanning and clearing process. The way that I do it and the way that I typically teach it, although if you guys have ever heard my attunements or my meditations or my channeling, they vary every single time because they're intuitive. But I like this one a lot. And so I will just scan starting from the top of my head. And I'm not just imagining my physical body. I'm imagining that, obviously as we know, or I know, my physical body is attached to my emotional body, and my emotional body is also attached to my energetic body, and my energetic body is attached to all of existence. So I'm just kind of scanning myself and seeing what's going on. So I start from the top of my head and I bring my awareness through every part. And so I'll do this with you right now. So I'm just bringing awareness to any sensations, any feelings. So right now, my forehead, I can feel like a tingling and opening up. Third eye intuition, that's pretty typical. And then if I go further, nothing really going on. Ooh, so much in my brainstem. Lots of tension. I can feel like I just want to release all these hormones that are stuck up in there. Just so much go lately. Okay, so what am I going to do with that? I'm probably going to take a salt bath, or I'm going to take a couple deep breaths. I'm going to do some stretches, or as my son, my 3-year-old, or my soon-to-be 3-year-old calls it, we got to scratch, mama, scratch. That's stretching. And so we'll scratch together. Do a couple yoga poses that release all that tension. Okay, going further down, my armpits are sweaty, but that's all. And my feet ache. My feet have been a little achy, so I need to do some stretches to release the energy, but I know the energy is all of these movements forward with my book launch, and so I'm just paying attention to it. So I'm doing something about any energy that is trapped. Now, if we're doing this every day, think about how amazing that is, even on a psychosomatic level, right? We're always consistently loving on and clearing any energy that gets stuck before it gets so stuck that it turns into something we really don't want, right? Okay. Okay, so that is it. Oh my goodness. I am going to, if you guys would like to follow me over to John Edwards' Facebook. We're going on his Facebook first, TikTok later tonight. I believe it's TikTok or Instagram, I don't know. But find us on Facebook on John Edwards' page. We're going to have some fun there. I'm pretty excited about it, but I've got to jump on there in about 10 minutes. I'm going to grab a quick shake or a smoothie or something, and then I'll see you guys over there if you would like to join. And I hope that this was helpful. This is day 6. As a reminder, oh, that's what I was gonna say. I'm sorry, I totally forgot that whole piece I promised I would say about this. So the 8 secrets to powerful manifesting. First of all, what I said, I think it was yesterday or the day before, if you buy an extra copy for a family member or a friend or a coworker, which so many of you have, and that means the freaking world to me, you will get an attunement, an energetic attunement with me, and a clearing blockages from my husband, the spiritual activator, who is a very well-known healer. And also the piece that you guys don't know yet, which once you buy the book, or if you have, you've seen us talk about this in the private book club group. But in the most simplistic essence, what I talked about earlier, anywhere from $1,000 to $9,500 in credits to use towards any program you want, or any live event if you want to come to the Heartland and experience the magic with some of my coaches, Oliver's healers, as well as Oliver and myself. And it's on us as far as the lodging and the food, magic. Otherwise, you can turn that into further credits and become one of my practitioners or one of my husband's healers, or wait for a different experience that feels right to you. That is a raffle experience. How you do that, if you want to check that out, just how it works and how you're gonna have to document it, you're going to go to the8secrets.com. Everything is spelled out except for the number 8. It's just the infinity sign sideways. The8secrets.com/contest. Am I allowed to say that already? Yeah, okay. I'm like, wait, was I supposed to wait until you guys get the book? Anyway, but if you want to get the book, if you haven't yet, you need to go to the8secrets.com. That's it. then go to the contest, because you can't go in the contest unless you got the book, right? That would make sense. So that is it. Thank you guys so much. Tomorrow we're going to day 7. So make sure that, again, as always, you look for my little thing that says day hashtag and then the number, and then it'll talk about what we're going to go through. And then the live will pop up within the hour on Instagram or Facebook, and it's always saved here too. Okay. Oh, by the way, guess what? The book is still in the top 100. Thanks to Anthony. I'm so excited. Oh, this is so cool. So much energy. Can you tell? All right, I'll see you guys soon. And in case no one has told you today, I love you all.